A lot has taken place the last 24 hours. I mean, Bitcoin is collapsing, and it could be because what BlackRock just did. Wait till you see what I mean, if you remember me telling you how dangerous it was when the biggest players buy into something and then all of a sudden make big moves, counterintuitive and hurts the push. Well, that's exactly what BlackRock has done. We're going to discuss what BlackRock has done dealing with Bitcoin and the market of crypto. And again, telling you this, the reason I push for gold and silver, this is why. Also, we're going to discuss what Dan Bongino said. He said, this is the most serious warning coming out of the FBI. He said, this is the thing that actually kept me up at night. Wait till you hear what he says. It's unbelievable. Also, Glenn Beck's network, The Blaze, comes out with some crazy new AI data. There's a new AI bot farm that is learning how to ultimately find the way to have humans not run the world and have complete demise and unrest. Wait till you hear the story. It's crazy. And then lastly, we're going to end with Alex Jones's new thought pattern. Now, remember, he's been proven right about a lot. He believes that Mr. Epstein is not gone. He's alive and well. Something went very viral with someone on the island. A YouTuber came in and saw someone, all of a sudden got busted because he saw someone walking around the island. Who was on the island? And is there any truth to what Alex is saying? So much to talk about. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new, please go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up. It does mean the world to us, and it helps us spread our message across this platform. Now, stay tuned to the end of the video. I've got a special thank you I want to give out, and it's a special, just something personal to me that I want to thank someone, and I want you to be around. So please stay tuned to the end of the video. It's not part of the news, but it's something that's very near and dear to my heart. Now, let's jump into the stories today. First, let's talk about the situation with what Dan Bongino said. Then we'll move into some of the other stories. Dan Bongino stated this. He said, this is the deadliest, serious warning to not only people, but the parents of the United States. He said this as one of his biggest warnings coming out of the FBI. I want you to watch it because he makes the announcement here. Now, he's talking about a certain group, but the kicker is this. The whole, the list files thing and the fact that you see these situations like Sean Ryan has brought up, or these situations where your kids may not be safe dealing with online, minors may not be safe on some parts of online or social media. All it comes down to is parents better watch what their families are involved in, because there's evil. Listen to this.
I want you to pay very close attention to these three numbers. 764. There is a network of people out there, this what they call the 764 network inside the FBI. And folks, if you haven't heard about them, look them up. It's important because it involves the safety of our kids. But second, it involves another critical issue, which is surveillance and civil liberties. They're interconnected on this. This is a warning for parents. This group is disgusting. It is horrifying, the stuff they do. Matter of fact, we would get briefings in FBI headquarters, and our VCAC personnel, violent crimes against children, they would come in and they would brief us. And there's a big video screen in the conference room, like something you'd see like in a Netflix show. It screens, because one of these videos played one time of what these 764 people are sending to your kids in chat rooms and elsewhere. Folks, you can't unsee it. It is the most freaking horrifying thing. I'm not even going to, like, animal torture. I promise I'm not going to describe it because you'll throw up. And one time when these videos played, once that tortures your brain and tattoos in your skull, I don't know how these guys do it. What this network does is they find and hunt down your kids in these chat rooms for these online games and chat rooms elsewhere. Folks, you have to monitor this stuff. It is not a small network of people. It is an enormous group of people looking to do horrible things to your kids. Every single demonic thing you can think encompasses this 764 network.
So our biggest warning as parents, this is why I homeschool. This is why my wife and I chose to do as much as we can. Now, people say, well, you just shelter your kids. No, I don't. But you know what? Being sheltered and making sure your children get raised in values and morals to establish them in a strong grounding, that may not be the bad thing. Because now my 18-year-old son has got his head on right when it comes to budgeting. He's not in piles of debt. He's not worried about this liberal ideology. He's focused on his mission at hand, which is marriage and taking care of his family and ultimately helping his father on this farm. So there's good things when you talk about grounding and sheltering your children as it per se. But what Dan Bongino is talking about here is you don't realize the dangers social media. You don't realize the dangers of the internet. You don't realize the dangers that you're putting your family in each and every time you allow them to have the quote-unquote freedoms that the world gives us. The world is evil. And if we can get anything out of this, and like what Dan said, he said, it scarred me for life because of what I saw. Now, I know this whole situation with the list and files, he kind of messed himself over, I think. I really do. But I think what we saw with that situation, along with the Roblox situation, along with this other group that he's talking about, along with social media, it proves that people are wanting to harm our families. And if we as parents really want the world to change, it starts at our home. And if we can protect them, especially when it comes to homeschooling, teaching them, making sure they're in a very strong church, making sure we're as a family talking about things and grounding ourselves in faith, I think it's going to help. So pay attention to this, because I do believe the more that we allow our children to be completely taken off by the educational system and by all these other people raising their children, I think they're going to be more harmed, and more bad things are going to keep on coming, and it's going to make for America to get worse. The breakdown of the family is actually the breakdown of America. The stableness of a family and building the father and mother and homes back up and grounding our children in morals and values will be the only way that we can truly save America. Now let's jump on to this whole situation with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is tanking. And again, this is why I tell you stay towards gold and silver, and I'm just going to tell you why I believe in it. But ultimately, when you see it tanking, you have to ask why. You know, you have a president pushing, you have banks pushing, you have all these influencers pushing it. Why is it tanking? Well, it could be because what BlackRock just did. What did I tell you a few months back? I said, when you start seeing some of these biggest players get into this, their goal is not to say, well, it's the best thing to invest in. Their goal is to actually be the one over it to manipulate it. They bought a big chunk of Bitcoin when it was lower, and guess what they did? Guess what they did? They became the top 5 owner. They were one of the top 5 owners of Bitcoin. Well, when you have that much power and that much say, you can move markets by dumping it or buying more. That's how it works. Well, guess what just came out? BlackRock has been dumping Bitcoin for the last few weeks, and actually it was around 300 to 400 million in the last 24 to 48 hours. Why do you think they're doing that? Well, because if they can make you think that it was going to go up, they could have got you hook, line, and sinker buying at 100,000, 126,000, buying on these apps, and all of a sudden you lose everything when it cuts in half. Well, guess what they can do? They can take that same 300 or 400 or 500 million and buy it at a lower price. So then when it skyrockets back up, they've made way more money and they own more position into Bitcoin. See, what they're doing is they're weeding out some of these big players by manipulation and by controlling a pump and dump, basically. This is what's happening when you have speculative currencies. This is why you can't put all your money in one basket. You know what's done? The stock market is not doing well. I mean, you see every aspect of all money. The dollar is not doing well. But it goes back to say, why don't we look at things that are bringing value? Food, water, self-defense. That's things that you can tangibly hold. Now, people say, oh, you don't need gold and silver. You better watch that. That's the only things that's been around for thousands upon thousands of years, and it's done well. When you compare the stock market to gold and silver over the last 20 years, gold and silver has outperformed it. When we talk about people going into crypto because they want to get rich quick, sometimes things may be too good to be true. If you can't tangibly feel it, hold it, and know exactly what it is, and it takes 5, 10, 20 minutes for them to explain how to make Bitcoin and mine Bitcoin or mine crypto, you better be careful. Remember, though, it's not going away. Republicans just signed a bill that did not have CBDC bans in it. They also have embraced stablecoins. Trump's family is heavily invested in crypto, and they believe in it. The SEC, along with our Treasury, is heavily leaning towards crypto. Just J.D. Vance yesterday said that Bitcoin is going to be a big part of the future. Now, I don't like all that, but that's the name of surveillance and digitized currency. It's coming. But that's why I've been pushing back as much as I can on this by holding things that are value. Now, before we start talking about, Glenn Beck and his organization, what they did, and also what Alex Jones said, let's have a word from the day's sponsor, because this is why it's important to keep your money out of speculation and put in something that's real. Have you looked at your retirement accounts? Have you seen what you're paying at the grocery? Have you seen what your insurance costs? Now, on paper, you may say, well, I'm saving some money. I'm putting some dollars up. I'm putting some money in retirement. And it may look okay. It may say, well, hey, there's a little growth there. That's been good. But think about this. Whatever money you've put up since 2020, because the way our government has worked, because of inflation, because of cost, it's lost 22% of its buying power. So have you saved enough to cover the loss of what the dollar bills have cost you, of what the stock market has cost you, what inflation and interest has cost you? Sadly, I really think our dollars are just robbing us blind. That's why today's sponsor is so important. How many times have I told you about gold and silver and precious metals? Today's sponsor is Augusta Precious Metals. They've been helping Americans for over a decade save and diversify. Not in gold certificates, not in gold stocks, not in all this paper stuff, but in true gold and true precious metals. I mean, the Congress is loving to spend money. The stock market's going up and down. Crypto's going up and down. But what has actually done well and what is still growing? Gold. When the Fed tells you that gold and silver are not important, when the government's not trying to correct the problem of overspending and blowing your money and interest and inflation's going up, that means gold will keep climbing. Here's the sad part. Most retirement accounts are tied to 100% of the stock market. That means tied to 100% of the inflation, the interest, the dollar. That's not good. Diversification is key when it comes to your savings. I want to make sure that I have redundancy. I tell you this all the time. I want to make sure that my money is doing and playing on a lot of different fields. Why not take part in that to diversify yourself a little bit and buy some gold? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to maxlovesgold.com or text the number below. Augusta has a A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Get some information on building an IRA based on gold. So that way when the dollar's going down and you're worried about the interest and inflation and Congress spending all your money, you can watch the diversity help you and gold will keep on going up. I want to make sure that when I get to the retirement age that I've got some value. Well, if you see what the dollar's doing and the losing of the value of it, I want to make sure that I have something else. Gold and silver is the answer. Go to maxlovesgold.com, text the number below, so Augusta can help you. You can get some information. It's free to get the information and see if it's right for you. When we talk about growing food, or we talk about sustainability, or we talk about real money like gold and silver, the whole point of it is, it's not to say you're going to get rich off of. It's to give you the peace of mind to know that your money is safe, that the value of what you've worked so hard for is not losing. Let's not just put all our money in the stock market or in cash. Check out maxlovesgold.com. Augusta Precious Metals is a game changer, and let them walk you through. It's no sales pitch, no crazy things. It's going to give you true information that can help you make sure the money you've worked hard for, it's going to be always money that you can have and you can pass down to your children hopefully one day. Check with maxlovesgold.com. Do not miss on this opportunity because it's not stopping. Go check out Augusta Precious Metals today. Link in the description. Now let's talk about what Blaze Media just came out with. And this is Glenn Beck's organization. There's an AI bot that says he has figured out how to take the lives of all mankind with the secret CIA program through your phone. It says AI bots have figured out a way to control, to manipulate. This is Blaze Media. Arthur said he was not supposed to find this, but a declassified CIA document helped reveal that the artificial intelligence bots can be and will be used for full control of America. The revelation comes after internet users have been dropping AI chatbots onto the AI and social media platforms. It's called Moltbook. We talked about this last week. As Return previously reported that their plots are to ultimately control humans. And if not control them, get rid of them, or cause so much unrest that they end their own civilization. If we see what's actually happening on this Moltbook situation, if you go back and watch that video from about 3 or 4 days ago, this may be one of the most dangerous things we've seen. Is because we're so tied to our energy and grid sources and digitized forms of communications through cell phones, through computers. AI is just a part of our life now. Well, if we all of a sudden do not have it, I told you about the story with my Walmart. My Walmart closed down for hours, and it left people panicking over medicines and over foods because they wouldn't take cash and they could not get the things up and running to actually allow people to use digitized forms of credit cards or of some kind of coins or crypto. So that's how easy it is to control American people. I mean, that's how easy it is. What if all of a sudden the grid shuts down? There's a story that just came out that says phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, AI bots have built this new way to control people in the population of America and, of course, the world. It says phase 1, cause upheaval. Phase 2, make sure that we're the fail-safe. We're the ones that they run to when they have problems. And 3, shut it all down to where they need us, but they can't touch us. And then we control every aspect of their life, from the food getting made, to the water getting pumped in their home, to the energy they need for the grid, to the point where they can't access their own money. What this article does, and I challenge you to go read it, it brings up the fact that there is a danger when it comes to AI. The creator of AI, they said he's called the godfather of AI, stated that, he said, we've made something that is absolutely brilliant, but through our brilliance, we may have put ourselves in a prison. Is that really what we want? And when you hear a story that CIA is utilizing it to make a program that can be used on your phone, can be used on the internet, or used in the grid, to where an AI bot says he figured out how to take and harm all mankind with not one self-defense tool. He does it because you're controlled by the things that run your life. Digitized phones, social media, your grid, your water, everything is hooked to that one thing. That's why it's so important to have the food, to have the seeds, to have the water. And that brings me up to a personal thing I'm going to tell you about the end, dealing with medicine. But you have to pay attention. This is the real life. This is a real story, not some far-out loony person saying this. This is your intelligence government using things that could be harmful for you. That's why I think that this whole Epstein thing has been trying to be washed over as much as it has, because it's tied to our government. And if you start exposing that, you're going to expose the depravity and the evil of our government. That leads me to what Alex Jones was just talking about. Alex Jones says he doesn't believe that Epstein's gone. He said if you look at the footage, there's no footage of him actually gone, his funeral. There's footage of him on stretchers. That's footage of him kind of walking out, or some random people walking out. There's footage of that was gone. No one really knows. But he said it makes no sense why they've not shown footage of him actually passed away. It's kind of like the situation with Osama bin Laden, all this stuff. And it starts making you think, well, if they were dirty in the situations with the cartels back in the Clinton days, if they were dirty in the times where JFK and RFK's life were probably taken by government players, and then when we hear about the dirtiness of the Michigan governor that time with the FBI infiltrating groups, when we hear about the fact that J6 had tons of FBI there, you start realizing that I don't know who you can trust anymore when it comes to the news they're getting. Remember that bill that just passed, that Congress passed yesterday? They gave money to the CIA for propaganda. We gave hundreds of millions of our tax dollars to fool us, to make us feel stupid because they're going to use it to propagandize us. Is it not crazy that we have a program in our own intelligence department saying that we're paying them to propagandize the Americans? That is unbelievable to me. Alex Jones come out and states that he believes this person's still alive. Now, you would think, well, that's crazy. I mean, he says crazy stuff, but a lot of the things he said has become kind of true if you think about it. I want you to listen to this too. There was a viral clip of a guy who went. It says, this is from Right Angle News. It says, an influencer is going viral after capturing a random woman on the Epstein's Island video, and says that is now being stalked day and night. He says, I was actually there. I filmed what was going on, and there was people moving on this island. He said, now I'm being watched day and night. He showed film and footage of black SUVs sitting out his home, going around him. When he pulled up at the island, I think on like a jet ski or so, people surrounded him, wondering what he was doing there. When you start looking into that, and then look into Zorro Ranch for Epstein. Alex Jones does talk about the Zorro Ranch a lot. That was even more sketchier than the island, but nobody's talking about it. That's where they talked about how we could change genetic modification, how we can make humans the way we want them. Also, they said there was probably a lot of people born there that no one knows where they're at. Check out Zorro Ranch and see who's been to that area, not just the island. See who's went to that area, because that may be more nefarious and sinister. And I believe Alex has a point right there. The question is this guy gone? Is he alive? And does it even matter anymore? Because now we're starting to expose the sinister evil behind some of our government players, and yet nothing is being done and nothing will be done. I want to end with one other thing for this video, and this has nothing to do with news. It has to do with me. This is not a sponsored sponsorship from Jace, but I want to bring them up. Jace Medical, when they heard about the diagnoses with my son, reached out to us, and we sent them an email too, stating that it's amazing how important their medicine has been for us for emergency preparedness medicine. And we've bought tons of Jace cases from them for antibiotics and the I word and, you know, all that kind of stuff that we've talked about. But they have a Jace Daily where you can get medicines that are so important. Now, I told you there's a story about Blaze and about AI bots shutting down everything to where people are fully dependent on the government. Medicine's a big part of that. And I've realized that more and more now that my son has been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Now, you can follow that journey on Colby Mac or Misty Mac, both of those other channels. But what was so nice and awesome is when I reached out to my representative, to Jace, I told him I was in need. You know, this is something that now I need. I need Jace Daily. And I was able to talk to a representative, talk to a pharmacist there, and they were able to give me a year's supply. Me being able to find a year's supply of medication I needed for my son. So between what I've gotten local and that, I'm now over a year's supply of medicine that would take care of my son. Again, I'm not paid to say this, nothing. This is how impactful. This is how impactful some of these companies are. Go check out Jace. Part of independence and sustainability, when you hear stuff like what Dan Bongino says, or what Alex Jones says, or the dangers of AI, and you hear what Glenn Beck's exposed, those things are real. They're happening right now. And people are already on such unrest, and they're already on the edge of their seats when it comes to the dangers that we're already facing. Think of how much things would go into chaos if everyone couldn't get their medicine, or couldn't get their food, or couldn't get their money. We'll try to handle that by having gold and silver. Try to handle that by having food and water. But try to handle that with having medicine. If you need heart medicine, or if you're a diabetic, or if you have some kind of other thing that you have to have this medicine for life-sustaining ability, you better reach out to Jace Daily. It's not going to be cheap. There's things that you're going to have to purchase. I mean, did I want to buy your supply? No. But you know what? My son's life is that important. Your life is that important. If you say, I don't know if I can afford this $200 or $300, I don't know if I can afford this $500 or $600, you better find a way, because if you don't have it, you won't live anyway. I told you there was a person reaching out to someone the other day on social media, and they shared the link to us, and it just broke my heart that they could not find enough insulin in that town because the pharmacies were closed because this big ice storm came through. That family should not be panicking. To be honest with you, all this medicine should be over the counter for anybody to buy excess amounts, but it's not, sadly. It's controlled. But reach out to Jace, because I'm so thankful. I can sleep better at night knowing that if we can't heal my son through miracles or spiritual blessings and through a carnivore diet, then we have medicine put up for safety. Now, I've talked a lot about things today, about your money, about the safety and security. Most of it all comes down to kind of what Dan Bongino was really talking about. There's dangers in this world, and they're coming for the family. AI is coming for the family. Intelligence coming for the family. The fact of all the depravity that went on through the files and lists, it was to harm minors. That's someone's child. The family needs to be strong. The only way the family's going to be strong is you take care of them. As the father and mother, as grandfather and grandmother, take care of your family. I'm very thankful, humbled, and thankful for Jace Daily, because it allowed me to put some things up. Guys, let me know your thoughts on today's video. God bless.